What's up guys, Dave Lipson here and welcome to Thunderbro University's Movement Library. Today, we're gonna dive into the squat. The squat is the king of all movements. Most people think the squat's just a leg movement, but honestly, it's a total body movement that involves a lot of muscle, and it has great translation, not just in the gym, but in sport and life. The patterns we're gonna learn here are gonna translate to things like running, jumping, all kinds of stuff. So you wanna make sure you master the air squat. The other thing that's really important is understanding that once you've mastered these mechanics, it's very easy to then transition to a barbell back squat or a front squat or even an overhead squat just by teaching a different grip position. So let's start going through this movement, beginning with the setup, the execution, and some really important points you want to be thinking about when you do them. Alright, so first off, in all your squat-based movements, you want to make sure that you start with the proper stance, a stance that's going to allow you to perform the mechanics very well. A lot of people set up for squats way too narrow with their feet hip width apart or even narrower. So I want to make sure that you guys start with your feet at least shoulder width apart with your heels directly underneath your shoulders. You can turn your toes out just a little bit to allow room for your pelvis to drop down nice and low when you do this movement. What we're teaching here is full range of motion, full depth squats with the crease of your hip below your knee. Next, we're going to talk about posture and position of the spine. Before you begin the movement, you want to make sure that you get into a good neutral spine position and brace that position really hard before we start to load it up. An easy way to do that is just to stand up nice and tall, take a big breath, and imagine like you're Superman here to save the day. Now if you take one finger and you put it on your sternum and you take the other finger and put it on your belly button, notice how the distance between these 2 points shouldn't change once you begin squatting. So if it starts getting longer or shorter, you're losing that position on the spine. So I want to make sure that before you even move, you take a big breath and you brace your abdominals, just like you're trying to take a poop. So the first part of the movement is going to be to initiate it from the hip. All the big, powerful muscles in your body are on the backside, like the glutes and the hamstrings. So we want those muscles working first, and we want them working most. Now to do this, all you're going to do is send your hips back and down to begin the movement. Notice how it's just like I'm bumping my hips back, okay? Unlike a lot of people perform this movement driven by the knee, which puts them in a very precarious position where their hips don't move back, but their knees shoot forward. This is no good. Yeah. Now we've set ourselves up for success. Once we've initiated the movement, all we're gonna do now is sit down, trying to keep our chest up nice and tall until we get below parallel. Now here you can see I've placed a ball underneath my butt to give myself a marker for how deep I should be. So let's watch a couple reps here getting nice and deep. Here's a bad rep. No good. Lastly, we really want to think about keeping the knee in a healthy position. The knee should always be tracking over the foot and never beyond the toe. So as you squat down, you should be thinking about driving your knees out, apart, away from each other, just as if you were spreading the floor apart with your feet. Let's watch a couple reps where we just focus on pushing the knees out. And here's an improper rep. Ow! Yeah. Important when you do this to feel these positions and move controlled and under tension. So don't rush the movement. Take 2 or 3 seconds to go down and just feel yourself reaching your hips back, pushing your knees out, and keeping your chest nice and tall. Once you've mastered this, now there's nothing you can't accomplish with the barbell, but you have to have the foundation first.